Yeah, nice lady. So is it all right, Rich, if I hand over to you?
Yes, yes, thank you very much. Okay, hello everybody. Yes, my name's Rich. I'll just jump into my screen share and we'll get going. So you should be able to see this. So my name's Rich Brown. I'm head of lead generation at QBD. And today, what I want to talk about is around lead generation and how the kind of different options that there are to bring leads into your business. And there's one in particular which is relatively new. Some of you might have heard about it or certainly heard some of the buzz terms. And we just wanted to kind of peel back the curtain a little bit, just explain a little bit more about what it is, and is it right for your business or not? Because they're not all right for every business. Just wanted to kind of talk you through some of it so you could have a good idea about lead generation and certainly some of these, the types of lead generation that you can do online to really grow your business. So obviously lead generation is the lifeblood of any business. You know, you have to be looking to get leads in all different areas, and there's lots of different ways. Obviously we've got networking, a bit like what we're doing today. You know, you can be out and about meeting people, trying to generate leads that way. You might have be running paid campaigns that could be online or offline. So you might be running Google ads or email campaigns, or you might be running mail shots, whatever it might be. The ultimate aim is you're doing some sort of activity to generate some leads and to convert those into sales. But there is one, as I said, one which is more relatively new, that we believe is extremely powerful and highly effective, and it's that I'd like to just kind of guide you through a bit today and talk to you about. And it's a sales funnel. So I said you might have heard the buzz term before, but it's about a sales funnel, which is about converting people who are kind of engaging with your business. And by engage, I mean they're interacting with you on social media, they might be visiting your website, but how do you get them to make that step from kind of engaging and kind of being around your business into becoming into customers, starting conversations with them, and ultimately converting them into leads and sales. So a sales funnel is about attracting new prospects to your business, so people that probably have never heard of you before, and you get their attention. I'll come on to more detail of how you get their attention in a few slides, but you get their attention and then you kind of nurture them through this journey where they get to know you a little bit more, and then it's about converting them into new business. And one of the big things about it, and I'll make this point a couple of times in the next few minutes, is you're not actually promoting your business, which I know might sound a bit strange, but you're not really promoting your business and kind of leading with this almost traditional marketing of this is who we are and this is what we do. This is not the approach of a sales funnel. It's slightly different from that. And the way the sales funnel would work is it's about having an interrupt which kind of gets their attention, be it on social media or anywhere else online, getting their attention with something and then offering them something along the lines. And it's about putting that process into place that we feel these sales funnels are a very effective way of lead generation. So the way it works is you actually promote a pain point. So as I mentioned, you don't really go straight with the hi, this is who we are and this is what we do. You think of what is the pain point of the audience that you're trying to reach, what might be something that they typically face that they might need some help with, and you actually promote that, and you actually kind of push on that thing, and you offer them, we refer to it as kind of gated content. So this is some content that you can get, but in exchange for an email address. So you've identified a pain point that I might have, and you're offering me a solution to that. A free guide usually takes the form of like a PDF or some form of information. But in order for me to get that, I have to give you my email address. And I know you'll all be familiar with that kind of process, but it's just about having it more kind of structured, really. And so you create this pain point, but you have it as gated content. So I can't get that unless I give you my email address. And then now that you've got their email address, you've got that little bit of data, you can start to communicate with them, and typically it's through an email sequence which is automated in this process. And then it's about offering them an offer, like a compelling offer, And often that's done in the follow-up. So you're not going straight with the, hi, this is who we are, what we do, would you like to buy our service? You're taking a little bit more time than that, a little bit more care than that, really. And you're identifying a pain point they might have. You're offering them a solution through some gated content. And then once you've got their details, once you've got their information, you can start to communicate them on a regular basis, typically by email. You can start having that conversation with them and have a compelling offer that gets them to contact you. So it might just be something simple like to book a one-to-one or to come along to an event, but it's something just to keep that conversation going where you can nurture them through this journey, and you can start having longer conversations and converting them. Now, this next slide, hopefully you might have to kind of lean forwards a bit to see on the screens, but hopefully you can kind of see this is fundamentally how the structure of a sales funnel would work. So in the middle, where you've got the kind of square screens, we've got the opt-in. So that's effectively like the landing page of a sales funnel, and you can see all the arrows on the left hand side. So you could actually drive traffic to a sales funnel in all different manner of ways: networking, social media, paid ads, emails. You might even have a pop-up on your own website, but you're promoting this pain point. And what I'll do off the back of the talk today, I will send an email out of some real life examples of this. I was going to show some examples, but it doesn't quite work on a screen share of showing website things. I don't think it ever really does it justice. So I will send you some live examples of sales funnels that we've built for clients. You can kind of see them in real life. But the idea is you have a landing page which promoting a pain point. So it doesn't actually promote the business. And that's something that when we speak to clients to start with, it takes them a little while to get their head around. So we'll design them a landing page which promotes this pain point, which is appealing to their target audience. And the first thing they say is, yeah, but where's my logo? Why is my logo at the top? It's not a website as you would almost traditionally think of one. Its loyalty is to the pain point. And so we have a landing page which promotes the pain point. You can have all these different avenues where you drive traffic to there. And then it's on that landing page where you get that first kind of initial sign up, where they give up their details, they give up their email address in exchange for that content. And then you can see they go through the thank you process and they get that content. It's typically called the lead magnet. That's what that initial piece of content is called. You can also add some bonus content in just to kind of sweeten the deal, I suppose, to get their information. But once they've passed through that gate and we've got their information, it's at that point that we run an automated email program, typically 12 to 15 emails over a 3-week period, where not salesy at all, conversation emails that look like they come from you. And it's just about continuing that conversation, educating them a little bit more about who you are and what you do, how you help people, the products you have. But every single time you're putting that offer in, that would you like to have a one-to-one, we've got would you like to come to an event, whatever it might be, you're just kind of putting that in all the time. And you can see from this diagram where you kind of nurture people through this process, from they probably might not have heard of you before to engaging with you on social media or networking or emails, what it might be, because it's not your brand that's bringing them to this. It's the fact that you've got a solution to the problem or the pain point that they have. Pass them through this gated content, and once they're through the other side, you can then start the email conversations. And it's just about having a structure to that, which is really, really effective. So obviously a lot of people that we speak to about these sales funnels, they're curious if the kind of sales funnel is right for them. And as I said at the start of this talk, it's about hopefully helping you understand kind of what a sales funnel is. So if you hear it, further down the line or in other meetings, you've got a bit of an idea now of what a sales funnel is. And is it kind of right for you, or, if your clients are talking to you about it? And the thing to assess if it works for you or not is to think about what a new client is worth for you. So if you have a kind of number in your head, now I'd love to be a magician at this point and do it right. Think of a number, and then I'm going to tell you what that number is at the end of the slides. But if you just have a number in your head of what a kind of new client is worth to you, maybe the lifetime value of the client, or depending on the type of business or the services that you offer, how much is a kind of new client worth to you? If you just have that number in your head, I said I'm not a magician, so I'm not going to read your mind, unfortunately, but it will just help you with this kind of next stage, really, where this is where I'm really kind of lifting the lid on the sales funnel and talking to you about some of the numbers. So this is a much more basic thing of that diagram I just showed you. So you have that initial interrupt, which takes place usually on social media or some paid ads, email campaigns. You take them through to a landing page where you hopefully get them to convert, to download that content, to pass through that gate. They're then entered into an email campaign, and obviously you want them to come out the other end as a sales inquiry. So in terms of numbers, and this is very broad brush, so this is very kind of like universal, global. A click-through rate, so from someone seeing your activity online through social media, paid ads, emails, whatever it is, you'd have a click-through rate of somewhere between 0.5 and 0.9%. So that's everybody that sees any of your stuff. That's how many of the percentage of those people you should expect to actually click and visit the landing page as a result of that initial activity that you're doing, as they're typically on social media. Once they've landed on the landing page, because this landing page is completely focused at pushing the pain point and getting them to sign up, they're kind of not distracted by your website. Sometimes, you know, if you send someone to the home page of your website, it can be quite confusing because there's a lot going on. There's lots of links for me to click. There's lots of things you're trying to tell me, and I can get a bit lost or a bit confused of what I'm supposed to do. Whereas this landing page is effectively a dead end, and the only thing you're talking to me about is this pain point, and the only thing you want me to do is to sign up. So typically a kind of sign up rate from those landing pages should be somewhere between kind of 20 and 40% of everybody that visits that page that passes through that gate into the emails. They then get that email sequence that we mentioned, typically 12 to 14 over a 3-week period. And the amount of kind of sales inquiries or people that then contact you as a result of that, wanting to book a one-to-one or accepting that offer that you've presented to them, is somewhere between 3 and 5%. Those are the kind of targets. And we don't mind putting those targets out there because that is ultimately what we get judged on. You know, we know as a digital marketing agency that you're going to judge us on how we perform to these things. So to put some kind of numbers to it, if you were to run an ad campaign or get your message out there on social media and it was to reach about 50,000 people, which to be honest isn't that hard to do nowadays on social media because there's lots of people are connected. You can run, you know, Google ads, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, all these different things. Reaching 50,000 people is not out of the realms of possibility. But if we veer on the kind of cautious side of these numbers, so if we reached 50,000 people, that initial interrupt, you probably get about 250 people on the landing page, is at the lower end of that click-through rate. If we then got even just a 20% conversion of those landing rates, you're going to get somewhere about 50 people in that email campaign. And if you send that email out to those 50 people, so those 12 to 15 emails over a 3-week period, you should expect 2, 3, 4 inquiries off the back of that. And obviously that's kind of then almost over to you of, you know, what your conversion rates are typically when you speak to a new person. But hopefully that just kind of fleshes it out a bit and gives you some ideas of the numbers, because we're very aware that digital marketing in a sense kind of isn't real. You can't hold it. I can't do the work I do for you. You can't have it in your hand and look at it. It's all happening in the cloud. So we work very hard to kind of have that transparency so you can see the different steps and if it's working or not. So if a sales funnel is right for you or anyone that you're thinking about, I said, if you think about that value of a new client that I asked you to do, if you have that number in your head, typically these sales funnels, that whole process that I showed you, that diagram that I showed you, typically would cost about £1,500 to build. And that is the landing page, all the content, the gated content, the PDFs, all that email sequence. And then because a sales funnel is not really going to get found in Google, people aren't going to Google you and going to kind of come onto that accidentally. That's about SEO, and I can talk about SEO at different times if people want to know about that. But you are going to have to run some sort of paid activity to drive people to that sales funnel because they're not going to find it otherwise. So you would be probably looking to spend somewhere around £1,000 a month for about 6 months. We always ask for people to go at these for, and that does include the ad spend, so the money that you would actually spend on Facebook or LinkedIn or Google ads, you know, whatever it is about that. And these are numbers just so you can get kind of budgets in your head to see if it works. And then obviously what you can do from that is you can think, right, okay, Rich has told me that a sales funnel, if we were to go down this route, 6 months or so, we'd need to be looking to spend probably somewhere around, what's that, about kind of £7,500. How much is a new client worth to you? And if you thought, well, this sales funnel is going to generate me 3 or 4 new clients, does that kind of calculate back and does that work basically? So typically these these funnels do tend to work for people that do have probably a higher ticket value product, or the lifetime value of a client is quite high. It's just balancing it out really, so you can get a feel for it. Something I was mentioning to Suzanne when we first came on the call today is we very much enjoy kind of showing people the rules of the game with these digital marketing options that there are, and we can kind of show you, okay, this is what you could expect from it, this is what you're gonna have to commit to it, but this is what you could expect from it. And if it doesn't quite work for you, the numbers or the commitment, you can think, fine, okay, I understand that now, and I can make an informed decision that it's not for me. Obviously, if you think, actually, this would work, I think this would really work for what we can do, it's something that you can look to kind of consider later down the line. Sales funnels aren't for everyone, to be honest, and we can help you decide if it is or it isn't. We don't push this on everybody because we know it's not right. You do need to have a compelling offer. So when you get the person into that email sequence, you do need to offer them something that is going to get them to engage with you, and we can help you identify if that offer is going to be compelling enough, and we can help you identify that. So that's the sort of thing that we do a lot of. We've got a lot of experience in that. You do need to be proactive with the leads. So if you have got a sales funnel running, which is generating you kind of 3, 4, 5 new kind of sales leads a month, you do need to be proactive enough to follow it. I should say as well, also, if we've had 50 people enter an email sequence and 3 or 4 of them are basically requesting a one-to-one with you, you've still got 45, 46 of them in your emails now that you can follow up as well. Very much sometimes it's not that they don't want you, they just don't want you at the moment. So you can proactively think about how you can communicate them. And as I mentioned as well, you just got to think of the value of the client. We know this isn't for everyone. This is something that does take a bit of commitment. But if you feel the value of a client is worth it at the end, then this is certainly a form of lead generation that we feel can really, really work. As I mentioned, we just like to give people the kind of roadmap, I suppose, of what the possibilities that you could do and what you can expect. And it's something that if you feel would work, then we're always happy to help. If you do kind of want any more information, or kind of have and I do mean it sincerely, like a no obligation, just chat about the sales funnels, and you think they're quite interesting, you'd like to know a bit more about the kind of, I suppose, the science behind it, or the kind of technology side behind it, or if you think, yeah, it might work for us, but we're not too sure on the numbers, or we're not quite too sure on what we would offer or the money, it'd be great to connect with you all. I will, as I mentioned, I will send an email out to everybody following this meeting, just with a few examples of the sales funnels that we have running for clients, just so basically, I'm not kind of making this stuff up, I suppose, that you can see how it works. I mean, and you're welcome to kind of join their funnels if you actually want to see a real example of the emails that you would get after that. But you can go and have a click around, you can look at them. But if anybody would like to, let's say, kind of lift the bonnet and really get under in the nitty gritty of how this works, we can help with that. Alternatively, if it's just more around your website, so your SEO, you'd like to have a chat with, we're always happy to help. Really enjoy getting to know all the other members in the group and kind of just help them and just give them some advice and guidance really on this sometimes slightly confusing world of digital marketing and what you should be doing, and the different options that you've got. But that's sales funnels, that's lead generation, and we feel that sales funnels are a really powerful way to do it. Not right for everybody, but it is something we'd like to kind of let more people know about, so they've got that decision to make if they want to do it or not. But thank you very much for listening, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thanks very much.